Hello everybody. So today we're going to be learning about Capp. Okay, what Capp is Capp is an acronym we use to study primary sources. Primary sources are documents from history written by someone in that time period. So if we were learning about the Revolutionary War, right, we would want to look for journal entries, letters, newspaper clippings from that time period, and that would be considered a primary source. You can also have things such as images, political cartoons, and other things that are similar. Paintings could also be primary sources, and even in more modern history, even videos can be. Whenever we look at one of these primary sources, it's important to consider four things: context, audience, purpose, and point of view. The first thing is historical context. Historical context is essentially what is going on in the world at that time. So maybe you got to first focus in on that civilization or that culture. So as I said before, if we were saying the Revolutionary War, you might want to look into what's going on in the colonies in Great Britain at that time period. And think about where is it from in the world specifically. So is this from New York City? Is it from Cape Town? Is it from London, England? Right? It could be from anywhere. Right? And when is it from? Because the year is going to tell us so much. What's going on in the world? As I said before, if we're talking about the Revolutionary War, 1776, what's going on in that time period? Okay, so there are important things to ask yourself because it gives you an idea of what might have been going on when you write a document. The audience. You got to think about who is supposed to read this. Is it a letter written to someone? Is it a newspaper clipping? Newspaper means that the audience could be anyone. Is this a speech that's being given? So who is supposed to hear the speech? Another possibility is, was this a picture or a poster? Who was supposed to look at it? So that is an important thing to consider. Point of view. So what is the point of view of the author? Who are they, and what is influencing their opinion? So you're just looking at this through the eyes of the author. What is the author thinking about the current state of the world? What would be pushing them kind of to create a document? And what kind of background do they have that might influence them? All right, so you need to know a little bit about the writer. Purpose. So why exactly is the author creating this? There's got to be some sort of advantage. What are they trying to get out of it? So you might think of an example from a newspaper. If it's from a newspaper, right, they're trying to persuade the reader most of the time to also buy into what they're writing. If it's an editorial, if it's something more informative, it might just be the purpose of this document is to inform the public of the news. Let's look at an example here, and I want to go with the Declaration of Independence. This is a primary source that everyone has familiarity with. So what's going on in the world at the time? It's important to consider that the Declaration of Independence was created in 1776 in the American colonies. Now, you guys may be saying there like, you could do this really fast. You're a history teacher. Well, if I didn't already know this, you have to look it up and do some research. What was going on in this area at that time? So in 1776, the people living in the colonies were really upset about a variety of taxes imposed on them. The Intolerable Acts, the Stamp Act, the Sugar Act, there was lots of them. And they didn't have any representation in Parliament, which means they didn't get the right to vote. So people are very frustrated in the American colonies at this time because they aren't really given any rights. This is going to create an environment of hostility, conflict, turmoil, of people who are trying to fight against the system. Audience. The Declaration of Independence. Remember, who is supposed to read this? All right. You think, is it the general public? Is it sent to a specific person for them to read? who is it? A small group of people? Well, the person it was for was the British king. The author wanted the king to read the Declaration and then understand the beliefs of the writers and understand what the colonies wanted. Okay, the point of view of the author, right? Who was the author? What is influencing their opinion? The author of this document was Thomas Jefferson. He's writing on behalf, though, of all those signers at the bottom of the document. So you might think about, if you've ever seen the big John Hancock signature at the bottom, about how he signed it. Well, he wasn't the only person. There was a lot of signers of the Declaration of Independence, and they all signed it and said whatever Thomas Jefferson wrote down. And after they read that, they said, well, we agree with him, so he is going to represent our point of view as well. So it's not just the point of view of Thomas Jefferson, but also the point of view of all of the signers. Right? And it's very similar to the context, right? This group of people is very frustrated with the way Great Britain has controlled them. They're also the leaders of the American colonies, so they have a very, very big influence on what happens over there. And they've dealt with a lot of trauma. They've been treated as unequal. They've had a lack of freedom. They don't get to vote. So you have a group of people who've been disenfranchised and aren't happy with the way the world has been treating them. Purpose. So why exactly was this created? Why did they create the Declaration of Independence? Well, the Declaration of Independence was created so that the colonies could inform the King of England that they were breaking off and forming their own country. And they also wanted to detail some of the reasons for this. They said we're not treated as equals, we do not get basic human rights, and we can't pursue our own happiness or what we would like to pursue in our life. So because of that, they're saying we're breaking off and forming our own country. So that is how you would use Capp to analyze a primary document. Thank you very much for listening, and good luck on your... Oh, no.